Let's work. Yo, it's go time, showtime, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo. Crunch time, shine time, make this moment my time. Get a grip, yo. Ready, set, go.
Welcome, everyone, to the Higher Level Podcast. Today, we have Miss Leslie Andrews on, and we are going to talk about door knocking. I don't think we have enough training about door knocking, but it is a very important part of our business. You know, we all buy leads on a weekly basis, and I don't think enough people are out there resolving each and every one of those leads. And in a lot of cases, people just aren't answering the phone. And with as many leads as we're buying, they really can start to stack up. In one way, if you are brand new and you want to be able to resolve every lead that you get and make sure that you squeeze every dollar out of every lead, certainly door knocking is a very effective method to be able to do that. I know if people call my phone, I just don't answer it unless they're in there. So today we're going to have someone on who is having success with door knocking. We're going to kind of go over her schedule, how many leads she's buying a week, and really she's just going to go over her overall strategy and her mindset when it comes to door knocking. And I'm sure after you watch this video, you're going to be able to go out there and implement and do exactly what she is doing. And again, I think it is a very effective way, and I think it's an important part of our business that we don't talk about enough. Sorry about that. So without further ado, Miss Leslie Andrews, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic.
Great.
So if you can just kind of go over, like if you can explain to us kind of what your schedule is and when you started door knocking, who taught you how to door knock, and kind of what your strategy is. What are you trying to do on a weekly basis in terms of resolving these leads? So if we kind of go through your schedule and let us know what you're doing and how many door knocks you're making a week. Let's just start talking about that.
Okay, so I do the dialing on Mondays for Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then Thursdays for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
okay.
That's how I do my dialing.
So you run every weekend?
Yeah.
Wow.
You have to.
I love it.
The weekends are gold.
Yes, they are.
Like, you've got to do that, especially for door knocking, by the way. So what I do is I set all my appointments. That's fine. And then I take all my leads with me all the time. When I'm in the car, I take my leads with me. But the point that you made about leads piling up, that's when that's when I really started to think about door knocking, and
okay.
It terrifies me. Like, just walking up to people's doors.
It's uncomfortable, right?
Very, extremely uncomfortable. But in the FFL, like, you can find FFL videos about it all over the place,
mm-hmm.
about door knocking and the door knocking competitions. And that's where I was starting to look at those to see what people are doing. But still terrified, still wouldn't do it. But then.
So the saying is true, right? The more uncomfortable you get, the more comfortable your family gets, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
But Mike Coombs is, like, we call it, he's the king of door knocking.
He is.
He's really good at it. And I'm like, what are you doing? And, like, every time I saw him, I would call him, what are you doing? What exactly did you say? Like, I was wasting a lot of time by asking him questions every time. He's like, just go knock on the door.
Mm-hmm.
Just knock on the door. So I was like, okay.
Isn't it amazing when new agents come here? That happens all the time. Brand new agent comes in, never made a call, and they want to ask you a million different questions on every possible scenario that could happen. And then you find yourself doing the same exact thing. And then Mike Coombs, who's a brand new agent himself, says, just go do it.
Right.
Right.
I find it to be it's a way of self-sabotage,
mm-hmm.
is what it is. And it's wasting time. So what I asked him what app he was using, Road Warrior,
okay.
in case nobody's using that. There are some other ones that I think people use. I tried using Google, it just didn't work for me. But Road Warrior now, so what I do is when I'm calling and dialing my leads, so all the ones I can't get a hold of, I log them into Road Warrior. And you do have to do it manually, but whatever, you just do that. So when I'm there, if it happens to be an appointment was a no-show, or I've got enough time in between, wherever you are in your Road Warrior, you just hit you just reload it.
Okay.
And it takes all of your leads, and it'll take you to the closest one. If you can hit them on the way, then that's what you do. I found out that door knocking really does work. One day I hadn't set enough appointments, and it was my own fault.
Let's go back a little bit. How many appointments are you trying to set on a daily basis? Like, what's your goal to set appointments?
For me to set
yes.
is a minimum of 7.
In one day?
Yes.
Okay.
And I know that's below average for most people.
I mean, we try to run 8 to 10, so it's not terrible.
Well, I'm a lot of mine is in lower Delaware.
Got it.
And so just travel time in between
Yep.
some of these appointments is like an hour.
That makes sense. Then you got 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I do. So if I happen to have time in between, and I always will, be able to make a shot in between or stop at a house.
Mm-hmm.
But a few weeks ago, I didn't set enough appointments, not nearly, and it was my own fault. So I was like, let me just make the jump and do some door knocking and see what happens. And these were leads that I had not been able to.
And how many
get
did you
a
have
hold
set that day?
of. Like set appointments to go see
Yes.
people? 2.
2 for the entire day, and you went
the
out
whole day.
anyway.
I
Perfect.
did.
Okay. Keep going.
So I put into the Road Warrior, I put 35 locations.
Wow.
So, and after the second appointment, I just turned it on and went and started knocking on people's doors. And it was awful. Like it was very difficult for me. But I, just walked up to the door. I don't take anything. The only thing I take is like my calendar book and their lead. Well, not just their lead, like 20 leads underneath it,
Yeah,
right?
it makes you look busy, like you got to resolve a bunch of these.
It does. That's exactly what it is. And so I go and I knock on the door and just introduce myself, and I'm super friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, hey, my name's Leslie Andrews. I'm a senior field underwriter here in Delaware. I've got your card and I haven't been able to get a hold of you, but I know you're super busy. And if you're anything like me, you don't answer the phone to people you don't know.
Perfect.
And so when we get to stuff like that, they just kind of send me out here to see if I can chat with you. Now I'm really busy actually trying to get a hold of a lot of people today, but are you going to be around on Tuesday?
Okay. So is your goal when you knock on the door, is your goal to get in the house, or are you trying to set an appointment?
Just trying to
every time.
Every time.
Got it. Okay.
I haven't made that jump yet.
Okay.
Like, that's another, I haven't made the jump. But so that's what I do is I'll set up like 2 days out and that'll be it. And so that day that I did that with those 35 locations.
And what day of the week was that?
I went and knocked on doors it was a Saturday.
Wow.
When people were home.
And what day did you book for that day?
I'm sorry. I apologize. It wasn't a Saturday. It was a Thursday and I set it for Saturday.
Okay.
And I ended up setting 9 appointments.
Unbelievable. So your entire Saturday was set up on Thursday.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
That's
and
very impressive.
Great. And the thing is, when you knock on the door, you have a much more, you have that human contact. You can look at them and smile and introduce yourself. And so the way that I set it up with them, there was one woman, she and I chatted in her front yard for probably 15 minutes. So the way I considered it, when I went back to those people on Saturday, the application was simply a formality.
Wow.
They knew why I was there and they knew what we were going to do and we were going to do it. And all of those appointments ended up being applications.
That entire day. How much did you write that day? I remember seeing that.
Okay. It wasn't me. I had to, I kind of screwed myself up, not realizing my schedule, but I gave them to Kristen and she wrote everyone. And that was the day she did 18,000 in one day.
Wow. Okay. So how long has it been that how long have you been door knocking for?
Well, now, it's only been like a month. Now I just if I can't get a hold of people, I put them in the Road Warrior and I'll go knock on their doors. Like every time in between. It is such a, it's such a key component that you're giving up money if you don't.
Yeah.
do
And
it.
I think we don't talk enough about it. And you're right. It is a key component. It is important, but I think that the reason a lot of people don't do it is because it is uncomfortable, and it comes back to everything that we do in here. And every time you see a top producer, because I do see you writing a lot of business, you're going to hit Hall of Fame this year, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
You're going to do it. And you didn't start out incredibly strong. And really over the last couple months, your numbers have been increasing each and every month. We keep seeing them get better and better and better. No doubt it's because you implemented the door knocking from what we're watching you do. And I talk to people all the time and I always say this, I say it's the little things in this business. It's never like one major thing. Everyone thinks there's like one big secret, but it's all these little things that add up to something major and make a top producer, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. It isn't, there's what everybody says. There is no secret sauce. There is no one thing. You have to put them all together. And the thing is, it would be great, it'd be great if someone could listen to it and then just start doing it.
Yeah.
But you're right. I started off not strong at all, but each little thing that I add to it, between being on the phones and then resolving every lead, like that's critical. You have to do that, whether people, curse you out and hang up the phone, and I might still knock on their door. Who knows?
You'll do it anyway.
Absolutely. Because they don't know, you know what I mean? Like knock on the door, but knock on the door, like resolve the lead.
Yeah.
Because it is like, people aren't answering the phone because they don't want to talk to you.
Yep.
Right. They're just like everybody else. They
I don't answer mine.
the phone to numbers they don't know, but they will talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
And they filled out the form. They do want it. They do need it. Right. All you have to do is show up.
Absolutely.
Just show up. That's all you have to do.
Now, you came from another insurance company before you started FFL, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were you door knocking at all there?
No, nobody was.
No, they didn't even talk about it.
No.
What'd you do there with the leads that you couldn't reach? What happened there?
Nothing.
So no one even discussed it, so you didn't do it. But coming here at Family First Life, I mean, the training is absolutely incredible. We have so much stuff on YouTube, and obviously that's where Mike Coombs got it from. And everything that we do here is, stolen from each other. This is, we're allowed to take everything from each other and learn. That's why I love this company. I love, what we do here. So you see Mike Coombs, who's within our group, you just reach out to him. He shares what he's doing, gives you a kick in the butt and tells you to go out and do it.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden you're having success in doing it. What did you issue pay last month in June?
Was it
29,000.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been here. I saw you at the conference last year. So what have you been here, a year?
I've been here a year, but I really didn't, some things happened. I really didn't get going until February, I think.
And I know this year, like I said, every month I've been watching you and I see your numbers, and every day I'm like, wow, it is. And I watch you go out there and do it. And then I start seeing you with all these door knocks and everything else. And I say, this is incredible how you just implement all these little things. So the company you came from, they never talked about it, didn't do it. You come here, we see a brand new agent like Mike Coombs who was struggling to, and then he implemented door knocking. He does very well at it. And now all of a sudden you're having the same exact results. They always say that success leaves tracks, and all you have to do is kind of follow those tracks.
Right. And I'm not afraid to ask anymore. Like that was another thing that I learned when I came to Family First Life, is like, before, you didn't reach out to other agents. You didn't talk to people like you were, you listened to their, once a week, whatever they did, kind of like a podcast or whatever. And then that was it. Coming here is, you see everybody, you talk to everybody. Like, I'm not afraid to call anybody.
You shouldn't.
I will call anybody on the phone. Like, how did you do that? And Mike and I have, a lot of people we've developed relationships with. They're much better at something than I am, and so what are you doing? Like, tell me how you're doing that. Or, and vice versa. If they feel like I'm doing something, like, I'll get people calling me saying, like, how did you do that? Like, what are you doing? The synergy that is involved is really amazing. You have to pay attention. You got to do it, and just, whether you spend whether your niche is door knocking, like Mike, and that's how he feels comfortable, or if it's just squeezing them in between, like, don't leave that part out. Just don't do it. It would be like not dialing.
Absolutely. I think what it comes down to is you don't have an ego. I was the same way. I came here. I called everyone in the entire company, from Matt Smith to Sean Ruggiero, Mark Mead. I called everyone and I just asked how, and every time I see someone, and even now today, I'll see someone post a big sale. I'll call, I'll say, what type of lead was that? How was it when you booked it? What'd they say when you got there? What objections did they give? How'd you overcome the objections? How'd you get it? Because I want to learn each and every day to get better. So we got like 2 minutes to wrap up here. I want to be able to give someone the exact door knock. So let's just go through, act like you're knocking on my door, and let's let everyone know exactly what they need to say to be able to go back. And again, Leslie is going out not to get in the home. She's knocking on the door with the sole purpose of booking an appointment. So we're going to go with that. It's working for her, and I think it's an easy way to get into door knocking. So let's take the stress off the table. You're not trying to get in the home and make a sale right now. You're just trying to knock on the door and get an appointment. So let's go through that so we can let everyone know exactly how to do it.
Okay.
So knock on the door.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Hey, Mike, my name's Leslie. I'm a field underwriter. I'm actually a senior field underwriter here in Delaware. Mike, I'm stopping by real quick because you had sent this form in, and it looks like our underwriters have been trying to get a hold of you, but for whatever reason, you're probably like me, you don't answer the phone to numbers you don't know. And when that happens, Mike, they send me out to see if I can kind of get a hold of you and see if we can help you out with this information. Do you remember filling this out?
I think I do. It was a while ago, wasn't it?
Oh, it probably was, which again explains why it landed on my desk. So anyway, Mike, listen, I don't have time today just because I'm trying to get to a bunch of families that we haven't been able to get a hold of. But I'm going to be back out here on Tuesday. Are you normally home around this time during the day?
Usually I am, yes.
Okay, perfect. So what I want to do is just tentatively set you in for like right around now between, 10 and 12. Is there any reason you might not be home?
And what is this for? Why do you need to come back?
This is a mortgage protection. Okay. The reason I have to come back is because these are non-medical products. This information you're looking for. I just need to sit down with you for about 15 minutes, see what you qualify for, and see what direction we want to go in. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. Okay. So next Tuesday around this time, you're going to be home?
That works. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Again, my name's Leslie, and that's my little white Buick out there. Okay. So you'll know it's me when I come back. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Have a great day.
Thanks. You too. I'll see you then.
Mm-hmm. And it's just that it.
And there you go. That's exactly how you door knock leads. So if you're not having a lot of success on the phone, we always talk about it. It's attitude and activity. Have a great attitude. Understand that you will have success. Put forth the activity, and you will start to have success at Family First Life. So everyone, make it a great day. Leslie, I appreciate it. Thank you for all the info.
Thanks.
All right.
Dialing for me, I'm not the best at dialing. So what I have done, I was kind of making it a hybrid of dialing and door knocking. For me, I just want to go and resolve that lead. I want to find out, does this person need this insurance or not? And, when you get to the door, you kind of already building a rapport with them. And it helped me kind of get some more, help some more people that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to get to on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I've kind of made it a hybrid. Lately, I've just been strictly door knocking. Now, not everybody has to do that, but it's what works for me. I like the personability at the front door.
There's companies out there that's all they do is door knock. So it is a viable option.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's what you're comfortable with,
I love it.
Do what works for you. And that's the great thing about this business is you have the freedom, to do whatever's going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
One thing Sean always asks, if he says, what are your numbers? Is it working? If it's working, don't change it. So,
right.
Like I said, you had a few months where you were over 20. Now I know that you just recently bought a house
mm-hmm.
and you had a lot going on. So a month was definitely slow last month, but
right.
whatever works for you, certainly continue to do that. So sorry about interrupting you, but
no, you're good.
If we can kind of talk a little bit about that, let's transition into that door knocking. Because none of us do it here. We don't do a lot of training on it. We just talked to Leslie earlier about it, but Leslie learned it from you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that. What caused you to do that? How did you start doing that? Because we don't do it a lot in this agency.
Door knocking for me sets more of a quality appointment, I feel like. And again, that's just what works for me. I like to get to the door, show the client the lead, be like, hi, Mary. And they'll be like, yes. I'm like, hi, is this you? And I'll hold the lead up to them. And they're like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, this is for what I like to say is for the final expense, especially is, this is for your funeral expense benefits. Takes about 10 minutes for me to go over this information to answer any questions that you have. I'm setting up my appointments for the next 2 days, which day works better for you, whatever day of the week that might be.
So when you're door knocking, it's never to get in. You're always setting an appointment.
I'm always setting, what I find, I used to set same day, and I'll actually, I'll come back to that in a second, but, what I do is I'll set it up for the next 2 days. I don't like setting the same day because what that does is that takes time away from you trying to set other appointments. So if I'm now at that front door with this client, they let me in, we sit down, then that's about an hour and a half that I don't have to go talk to other people and set a few more appointments for the following day. So it just kind of takes your schedule out of the next 2 days. And I just find it more effective. And you want to let them know that you're busy too. You don't have a lot of time.
That's a good point.
So that's where I go with that. I will do same day set for somebody that I have tried to contact. If I didn't get in the first time or the second time, if I'm there the third time I'm talking to him, I'm like, let's just, let's go ahead and take care of this right now. And that's usually the one exception I'll make for sitting with them the same day. But you really want to keep, just like your dial days, you want to protect those. I'm protecting my door knocking days.
What's your schedule look like when you're going out door knocking? What are you doing?
I'll do the same as FFL schedule. Mondays I door knock for Tuesday, Wednesday. Some weeks I'll let it just kind of all blend together. So if I door knock Monday, I set a few appointments Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll go out and door knock a little bit more for the days I have appointments. and I'll just keep filling in the gaps, for each week. So kind of swings around a little bit. It's not always the same, but it's kind of what helps me better structure my schedule so that I know, when I can come here, when it's time for me to go home, etc.
So do you even attempt to dial and set any appointments, or you just wake up in the morning, grab a stack of leads and go?
Yeah, usually I'll put them into the Road Warrior. I'll put about 20 to 30 in there, and I'll hit them up. And, sometimes I'll go back to the same house the same day if they're around. If I couldn't catch them the first time, if I'm on my way home, well, let me go see if this person's there now real quick. They might've been at work.
I'm amazed
like
by
that.
this, by door knocking. Is there any particular lead that you'll door knock, or you'll grab any internet's any lead? I
really like anything that's handwritten, something that, I can show the client. I'm like, hi, Mary, hi, is this you? And, 90% of the time they'll say yes. Sometimes they'll say, I didn't fill this out. I'm like, that's not your handwriting. And you're going to get a couple of those, and that's okay. But I really like anything that's handwritten because that really eliminates all of the objections.
Have you gone in the CRM? They have a bunch of those old final expense leads.
Like the age ones?
Yeah, I think they're $1.50, $2, something like that.
I have not grabbed any of those yet. Ironically, I should, though. I wanted to grab about 100 of those and just go through them and, because people fill these out. They don't know. Half of them don't remember if they filled them out last week or 2 months ago.
Most people that fill things out, they fill things out all the time.
Right.
So literally the lead can be 3 or 4 years old and they probably filled out another one last week.
Yep.
You go over there with some of those older leads. I think with you being a door knocking guy, going in and grabbing those leads, I think they're $1.50. I think you'd probably have a lot of success with those.
Yes.
A lot of the seniors don't answer their phones.
No.
So by you going out and resolving every lead, is that kind of what your mindset is? Like every lead you buy, you're trying to get some sort of resolution on it, right?
Yep. I need to know yes or no. That way, there's no in between. I got to know if they want it or not before I can toss it because, it's your investment. You want to make absolutely the most of it. And that's what I do.
How many leads are you picking up on a weekly basis to be able to keep yourself busy? And let's ignore the moving schedule. Let's say you're back.
Yeah. Let's say we're back full time. I probably will door knock about, I would say between 50 and 60 leads a week. And then I'll just keep putting them back in the rotation. If I go back to that area, I'll go try to hit that house again until that person either tells me, we don't need this or go away or, whatever it is, or they call me back. That's the only time I'll be on the phone is if I leave that delivery note, they call me back, and we'll try to set the appointment there. Sometimes it's a little harder because you're over the phone, but.
So you use the yellow stickies. You have those as well?
Yeah, I think they got pink ones now too. So I got a mixture of both. I like to use the yellow as the second notice and then the pink one as the final.
There you go. You got a system.
Puts a little pressure on them.
So when they call you, do you ask them what color it was?
Yeah, I have a voicemail. I was like, hi, my name's Mike Coombs. If you received a delivery notice on my door, please leave a message with your name and number, and I'll get back to you by the end of the business day.
Got it. I love it. I'm still blown away by that, seeing what you've been doing. Leslie, she attributes a lot of her door knocking to what you're doing, what you've done. And she's learned a lot from you, and she's having a lot of success. I mean, we just read the numbers. Look, she issued paid for the month, $39,000, Mike.
Wow.
Well, let's go through a mock door knock, and that way people can use this. So let's start. Show me exactly what you do.
Okay. I go up, knock on the door. Client comes up and I'm like, hi, Mary. And
I say, yes, I'm Mary.
Yeah. And then I'll hold the lead up and I'm like, is this you? And they look at it, they read it, and they're like, yeah, okay. I'm like, I work with the I'm now living in Pennsylvania. So I'll be like, State of Pennsylvania Benefits Office. We received the postcard that you filled out. This might have been last week, might have been a month ago. I don't always say that, but sometimes I will. It just depends. And then I'll tell them that, this is for your funeral expense benefits. Takes about 10 minutes to go over, answer any questions that you have. I'm going around today booking my appointments for the next 2 days. Does Tuesday or Wednesday work better for you? And then I'll say, they'll pick a day, and then I'll say, great. Mornings or afternoons a little less hectic for you. And I like saying that, and I actually learned that from Allison listening to her dial. She says, do mornings or afternoons are a little less hectic for you. And that way, I like that phrase because it kind of takes the pressure off of the client. They don't feel and they'll be like, oh yeah, morning works. I'll be like, all right, 9 a.m. Perfect. Sounds good. And that's pretty much it. And then I'll come back and see him the next day.
You get in the house to set the appointment, or will you do it right at the door?
I'll set the appointment at the door. I don't go into the home. I just want to let them know that give them the sense that I'm busy. You know, I've had a couple of clients say, I can do this right now. And I'm like, well, I can't really do it now. I'm very busy. I got a lot of clients I'm seeing today. I'll be back out tomorrow to sit with you. I'll answer any questions that you have. I'll think of some questions you want to ask me.
Perfect. Doing it that way too, because if you went into a client's home, let's say they got declined, you're running a couple different carriers. Next thing you know, your schedule isn't fully set for whatever day you're booking for.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you may have sold that one policy, but then the whole next day that you're in the field is kind of shot.
Yeah.
Because you try to go in and set the appointment. It's the same thing when people are dialing. I tell people, don't set an appointment on a dial day. Anything can happen. You get in and maybe you have a bad dial day, and then you have an appointment set at 3:00 and it's an hour away. Now you got to stop dialing.
Mm-hmm.
And now what happens is the next day that you're in the field is completely shot. So it's the same type of thing. If you're out there door knocking, you're out there door knocking. You're not selling. You're out there with the mindset of door knocking, filling that schedule. It's the same exact thing when we dial. People do it all the time when they're dialing. We'll be in the middle of a dial session. The person gets up and runs out, and I say, "Where are you going?" They say they got an appointment. And then the day that they're supposed to be in the field is completely shot because they ran out for that one appointment that ended up no-showing them. And now not only did they not have their appointment set, now they're just going to have a bad day out in the field. So I like the way you do that, man. I appreciate it, Mike. Our time is up.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to seeing what you're going to do in July. I'm glad you're all moved in now.
Absolutely. Nose back to the grind, man.
Absolutely, man. Let's make it happen. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, buddy.